mind, but the news was just announced that WNBA TV ratings are down more than 50% since Caitlin Clark's injury. And it was also reported that the Indiana Fever television viewership is also down over 53%. Now, I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA.
The WNBA just got a brutal reality check. Life without Caitlin Clark is like Netflix without a subscription. Pointless, empty, and impossible to watch. Playoff ratings have crashed harder than your phone when it hits the floor without a case. Now the league is scrambling for answers, desperately trying to keep fans from dozing off. Did the audience actually disappear? Or did they just flip the channel to pickleball highlights out of boredom? One thing's for sure, this playoff drama is serving more chaos than a reality show reunion.
Any chance that the WNBA, that Kathy Engelbert saw some of the ratings that I'm about to show you now and said, hey, Indiana Fever, can you do us a favor? Can you do us a solid? Can you just tease a Caitlin Clark return, kind of boost these up a little bit? Can you just dangle a Caitlin Clark return in front of the fans' faces, try to boost these ratings up a little bit? There was one matchup that this league can consistently rely on to produce massive viewership numbers.
The WNBA billed this season as the moment, the breakthrough year, the one where the league finally breaks out of the shadows and shows it can run with the heavyweights. Instead, it looks more like the league tripped on its own shoelaces, did a full-on faceplant into a tub of nacho cheese, and is now insisting it was all part of the choreography.
A shocker! Imagine my surprise. Just imagine my surprise when Uncle Casey found out that the WNBA is struggling to maintain their ratings without Caitlin Clark. To make matters worse, and this is something I have definitely noticed in the last 3 or 4 weeks, especially since the All-Star game, the WNBA seems to be struggling to maintain interest.
Let's call it what it is. This WNBA season has been a gorgeous, flaming train wreck. If you came for basketball, you got a mashup of star injuries, whistle-happy refs making calls like they borrowed their grandma's reading glasses, and a commissioner who treats player safety like it's an optional feature. And if you showed up for entertainment, you probably checked out the moment Caitlin Clark spent more time parked on the bench than running the floor, thanks to defenders treating her ankles like community property and her body like it was built for crash test simulations.
Caitlin Clark, the operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude. There's an incredible level of gratitude that should be accorded to this young lady with what she did for this sport.
How was the attendance for Team USA in the Olympics? What would it have been like if Caitlin Clark was playing on that team? Remember the first game? Look at this right here. National broadcast viewership. What are we talking about here? 1,000, what is that? 1.219? Is that the number? And the game afterwards got 485,000. So the Fever and their game against the Minnesota Lynx was 1.219 million.
You know it's rough when the highlight of the season isn't the games. It's fans placing bets on whether the league can actually survive until the playoffs are over. Spoiler, it's barely hanging on, held together with the flimsiest strip of duct tape labeled, "Please don't notice how bad this is."
NBA's black superstars should thank their lucky stars for the record ratings Caitlin Clark is detonating, even if new fans are mostly white fans. It doesn't matter what color eyeballs are. But the other day, I must admit, it hit me like Katie Bell Henderson telling me that's enough. I told myself it's not racist for me to like
And since we're on the subject of disasters, let's talk officiating. This year's refs look like they were recruited straight out of a mall food court during the lunch rush. One still wiping grease off his hands from a Sparrow slice while deciding if a foul is flagrant, and another seems convinced they accidentally signed up to ref roller derby. Their consistency, somewhere between a magic 8 ball and a fortune cookie. In one game, a shove doesn't even register. In the next, someone sneezes too hard and they are tossed. If refs had a stat line this season, it'd read like this: turnovers, 0, bad calls, literally every possession.
WNBA has a problem, and that problem is Caitlin Clark not playing in WNBA games. Now, what all does this affect? The ratings are plummeting. Guys, there's ratings for a couple of these games that are
Now let's talk injuries, because this WNBA season looks less like professional basketball and more like an orthopedic surgeon's holiday catalog. Caitlin Clark has spent nearly as much time recovering as she has playing, mostly because defenders act like she owes them rent money. Every drive to the rim feels like a new episode of How Hard Can We Smash Caitlin before the ref pretends not to see. Spoiler, harder than you think. But Clark isn't the lone casualty in this basketball apocalypse. The commissioner's office practically exhales in relief every time another star goes down. Oh good, one less headache to market. And if Sophie on the sidelines wasn't enough, Angel Reese decided, mid-season, to hit the eject button. In most leagues, that's shocking. In the WNBA, it feels like a statement. Because honestly, when the commissioner can't keep the league steady, refs look like they are practicing for clown school, and players are collapsing like flies in July heat. Why wouldn't someone quit? Reese probably figured Instagram was safer than another night of getting tackled like she's running wide receiver routes for the NFL.
That the WNBA is excited about. That's a trend that Kathy Engelbert would say, hey, Fever, hey, Lynn Dunn, hey, Kelly, hey, Amber, can you guys start dangling that Caitlin Clark return like you used to do? You know, before Caitlin Clark gave a statement and you guys were hands off. Can you guys, just string them along a little bit more? We want to get these ratings back up. We want to get these numbers.
Here's the truth. None of this is happening in a vacuum. For years, the WNBA has begged to be taken seriously, to be given the spotlight, to stop being treated like an afterthought. But the league itself isn't exactly helping its own case. The commissioner treats player safety like it's some radical new concept, as if protecting stars is a luxury instead of a necessity. People did tune in, curious to see if the hype was real. And for a brief moment, the pre-Clark injury days, it was golden. ESPN pretended to care, SportsCenter actually aired highlights, and Twitter users suddenly acted like they'd been lifelong experts on the pick and roll. But the second Clark was sidelined, ratings plummeted faster than Angel Reese's enthusiasm for finishing a season. Turns out, when your entire marketing plan is built around one player, and your officiating philosophy is basically let her get punched in the face, things collapse quickly. Sure, some fans will say this is just a rough patch. Injuries happen. Foul calls are part of the game. But let's be real, this isn't bad luck. It's bad leadership. The commissioner has been sitting back like a substitute teacher who lost control of the classroom. Instead of solving problems, the league doubled down on ignoring them. Star players dropping out. No big deal. Refs making games unwatchable. Fans will stick around. Spoiler, they didn't.
Anna, against the Chicago Sky, right after that game, they opened an investigation once again into the fans, where they found nothing, but the damage had already been done at that point. If some of these things happen just one time here and there, or there's one certain media personality who's just always saying these kind of things, then whatever. I feel like fans as a whole can be like, okay, whatever, this person is just a hater. But this is something that has happened over and over and over again, and over time, it starts chipping away at how much you're going to actually care and want to support an organization if they continue to do.
And the players who are still standing, they are stuck in games that look less like basketball and more like a mashup of rugby and pro wrestling. Half the time you can't tell if it's the playoffs or WWE SummerSlam. You half expect someone to slide in with a steel chair. Meanwhile, the commissioner keeps smiling in interviews, insisting the league is growing and building momentum. Right. And I guess I grow taller every time I put on heels. Calling this season growth is like calling a house fire an exciting new lighting concept. It's delusional. These women are out there giving everything they have while the system around them falls apart. They don't deserve refs blowing whistles like they are at a toddler's birthday party. They don't deserve leadership that treats their health like a side quest in a video game. They don't deserve a league that only markets them when it's convenient, then abandons them the second things get messy. Yet here we are, limping to the finish line with ratings circling the drain, stars sidelined, and fans wondering if the league can even survive another season like this. If this was supposed to be the year of growth, then mission accomplished. It grew into the biggest disaster imaginable.
Man. I mean, it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing what you guys have done. And then people are catching on to your tactics. You got the people on Twitter catching on to your tactics. Like, look at this right here. Look at this right here. They say ESPN didn't want to show the ratings were down from WNBA All-Star Game because Caitlin...
Maybe next year the commissioner will finally take player safety seriously. Maybe referees will relearn what a foul actually is. Maybe stars like Caitlin Clark will get to finish a season without being body-slammed into early retirement. But until then, the WNBA sits on the edge of a cliff. And the reason isn't that fans don't care, it's that leadership doesn't. This was supposed to be the year. The year of packed arenas, buzzing crowds, and ticket lines stretching around the block like it was the launch of a new iPhone. Instead, empty seats echo louder than the whistles. Popcorn vendors are sighing into the void, begging anyone to buy a hot dog. Ticket sales for most games look more like a clearance rack at a dying department store than a breakthrough season. The league keeps insisting it's expanding the fan base, while in reality fans are expanding their Netflix queue instead of tuning in. Without Clark pulling viewers, without Cunningham grinding on the floor, without Reese stirring the pot, ticket sales have collapsed faster than a Jenga tower in an earthquake, and the funniest part, the spin. Social media posts keep chirping. Another exciting night of WNBA action. Meanwhile, the replies are just memes of tumbleweeds rolling across deserted stands. When your marketing tweets become a comedy show for fans who've already given up, that's when you know the season's gone off the rails.